Welcome to Model Steam Engines and Boilers. You're watching part 46, making the fittings for the end of the connecting rod and valve rod. This series, called How to Build a Model Steam Engine, is for my Patreon supporters only. The full-length versions of the episodes in the series contain a lot more information than you're about to see, but this is sufficient to give you a good idea how to do the job. Why is it a good idea to join Patreon? Firstly, you get to see the videos a few months before everyone else. You can download my ebook, The Essential Guide to Miniature Steam, which is completely free. And you can watch the entire series of How to Build a Model Steam Launch, which is over 5 hours of instructions. I would like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters. I could not make these videos without your kind help and support. In this episode I'm making two very small and very important parts. And this is the first one. Well, it will be soon. The part that I need is buried inside this block of steel, which is currently sat on the small vise that I bought. It's ideal for marking out, particularly for holding small parts. I've coated the small steel block in marking out blue, just along one side and on the end. In this clip I'm scribing two lines accurately corner to corner to give me the centre of the block. This marking out may look messy by the time I've finished it, but at least I know what it means, and the main thing is it will show me exactly where to drill the hole in the end of the bar. I'm following the drawing for this part, so I hope it's okay. I'm scribing a line 1/4 inch in from the end of the bar. Initially, after making a small mark 1/4 inch in, I scribe a line all the way across so I can see it. In this clip I'm marking out the length of the piece. Using the same principle, a small mark at the exact point from the ruler, then scribe a longer line all the way across, but what's going on here? I'm scribing in the wrong place. The small mark is exactly the length of the component. The longer scribed line is when I'm going to part off the component once it's completed in the four-jaw chuck. It should all make sense by the end of the episode. Messing about with four-jaw chucks can be quite frustrating when you first start playing with them, but after a while the penny drops and you learn your four-jaw chuck. You learn how far to turn the jaws to hold things accurately. Once you think that you've got the part exactly in the middle, very gently touch it with a centre drill, and here you can see it's not in the middle. Now rotate the chuck until the part is in the right position, and I readjust the jaws very slightly to move the mark that I made with the centre drill away from the tool post slightly. It's a matter of trial and error. It can be frustrating, and you really don't need to use fancy equipment to get the hole exactly in the centre, provided your eye is calibrated. And unfortunately this doesn't happen overnight. In this clip you can see that the mark is in the centre, so now I can use a centre drill to drill the hole exactly in the centre of the bar. Now I need to turn the outside part for 1/4 inch down to 5/16 inch. This clip initially shows me using a 5/16 inch diameter twist drill to set the micrometer. This will get me very close to the finished size, but I always check it on the micrometer's vernier. In this clip I'm using a 5/32 inch twist drill to drill a hole down the centre for just over 1/4 inch in length, and once I've finished that I tap the hole using a 2BA tap. I'm doing this by hand and I keep reversing the direction of the chuck to clear the swarf so the tap doesn't jam in the work. Before parting off this component I'm removing the raggy edge left by the blunt centre drill, and finally I used a fine file to remove the sharp edge, before finally parting off the component using a parting tool. After parting off I turned the piece round in the chuck. It's not quite running in the centre, but it doesn't matter because I'm only going to face across the front of it. What I'm doing now is reducing the length of the component down to the mark that I first made when I marked it out at the beginning of the episode. In this clip my lathe tool wasn't exactly on the centre, it was a bit above, and you can see the result. Once I reset the cutting tool to centre height, it gave a much better finish. Over now to the drilling machine to drill the cross hole. I'm not using a centre drill. I gently tap the drill in the right place a few times, which makes a bit of a centre, then I can go all the way through. This does require a bit of practice though. And a word of warning, the twist drill will always follow the mark that you tap on the work, so if you don't get it right on the first attempt, use a centre drill. Once I'd finished the machining operation, the rest of it was just cleaning up the tool marks. This centre bar which goes through the crosshead is quite a tight fit, and I want it that way, because the bearings, which are the phosphor bronze bushers, are fitted to the fork. Time to see if the parts fit. Well, the thread fits okay on the piston rod, and as well as going through the middle of the fitting, the crosspin is also a good fit in the bearings in the fork. The next job that I didn't show because it's identical to this one was the making of yet another part which is slightly smaller and fits on the end of the valve rod. The unmachined valve rod is shown in the foreground. And that is it for this episode. I'd just like to say, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.